Hey, okay, we're live here. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Amy. I wanted to go live here because I'm getting a question a lot. Okay. And as always, I want to make sure to answer your questions or comments. So if you have any questions at all, post them in the comments. I'll be sure to focus on those first. Okay. So post your questions in the comments and I'm going to answer those live here today. But the reason why I came live is because a lot of women are asking me, what is the best diet, the best strategy for your food after cancer? What's the best diet for cancer survivors? If you go online, there are some very strong opinions about this topic, okay? And to be honest, the evidence is pretty clear, okay? So when we look at the big amounts of literature, if we wanted to be really science-backed and using nutrition to lower your risk of cancer, it's pretty clear what you should do, okay? And you go online, you see people say, do the carnivore diet, it's the only way to go. Do keto, it's the only way to go. Vegan, vegetarian, like it's on and on and on and on, right? But if we really want to be science-backed in our strategy, in our approach, if we truly wanted to use the best science to go forward, then there's really only one strategy that you would need to use, okay? Now, I want you to drop your comments, questions in the chat here always. I'm going to answer those, okay? So drop anything that's bugging you in the chat, anything you're wondering about, drop it in the chat. I'll make sure to answer those live. But the best diet that you can use as a cancer survivor is actually none of the fad diets, okay? It's none of these trend diets that come in and out of favor. Okay, carnivore, paleo, okay? These are fads. Keto, this is a fad diet, right? And we don't do fad diets as cancer survivors. We do diets that actually lower your risk of cancer. And that diet is eating plant forward, okay? Now, hear me out, okay? When I say plant forward, I do not mean vegetarian. I do not mean vegan. That's not what I mean. Plant forward means the majority of the foods you eat are from plants, okay? Most of us, the overwhelming majority of us, do not eat enough vegetables. Gosh, this is so simple, right? Me included, okay? No judgment, me included. We know we should eat our vegetables. Gosh, we're taught that as children, right? Eat your veggies, right? How many of us actually eat enough vegetables? Almost no one, okay? So that is the first thing. I want to get more into this plant forward eating for cancer survivors, but I'm going to answer a few questions here, okay? Okay, question here. Okay, hi, Dr. Amy. My mom was diagnosed with HGSE peritoneal carcinoma. So sorry to hear that. But they say it's ovarian cancer. I'm so confused about her diagnosis. And is this a death sentence? I'm scared. Okay, first of all, literally, I have to write myself a note because I literally just got off a call with one of my one-on-one clients who is an ovarian cancer survivor. Years, okay? I'm also an ovarian cancer survivor. 7 years cancer-free. 7 years cancer-free, okay? You do not need to be scared, okay? You do not need to listen to the horror stories that you can so easily find online. Your story is not their story. Your mom's story is not their story, okay? So that's the first thing. I know it's scary. Cancer is always scary, okay? But when it's ovarian cancer, lots of people look at you like you're dead man walking. That's how people looked at me. 7 years later, here I am, cancer-free. So I don't think so, okay? So now, you said you're really confused because they diagnosed her with a peritoneal cancer, but they say it's from the ovaries. Let me explain, okay? Now, this happens quite often. Now, when we look at a cancer tumor, cancer cells, we have to actually look at the cells, like where they originated from, okay? Now, when we look at them under a microscope, we can tell what kind of tissue they originated from because that becomes everything for your diagnosis because that's how we determine how to treat it. If we get that piece wrong, your treatment path could be way out in left field, right? If we treated your mom like she had a peritoneal cancer, But when we look under a microscope, it shows the cells are actually from her ovaries. Then we have to treat her like an ovarian cancer. It doesn't matter where the cells physically were taken from her body, okay? We need to treat them as those cells, okay? This becomes really confusing, right? If you have, just a second, someone just told me about an example of this the other day. They were explaining to me what they were diagnosed with, but now I can't quite remember. I believe it was like a uterine cancer, but it presented on an ovary. I don't know if that's right. Anyways, similar situation, right? It doesn't really matter where in the body the tumor actually presents. We have to treat it by what we see under the microscope, okay? That's going to be the most effective way to treat it, right? It's the same way we think about if you have breast cancer and it spreads to your brain, you don't have brain cancer, okay? You still have, it's all breast cancer. It's just that those breast cancer cells went to your brain, okay? That's the difference. And we have to make sure we understand that because it's really important in your treatment. I hope that helped, but hang in there. You know, it's not a death sentence and you're going to be just fine. Stick around here, 7 years survivor right here, okay? Great question. Okay, I have a question here. Is Diet Coke, is Diet Soda okay? Okay, so I'm assuming we're talking in terms of cancer risk, okay? Assuming your question is Diet Soda okay to drink? Will it increase your risk of cancer? Okay, so this is a great question. Now, we have to look at everything here. Okay, we have to go high level first. Okay, when we look at regular soda versus diet soda, regular soda has very clear evidence that it increases your risk of cancer. Let me tell you why. Okay, because a lot of people will say, oh, well, if sugary beverages like soda increase your risk of cancer, then sugar causes cancer. No. Let me explain. Sugary beverages have been linked to increasing your risk of cancer because sugary beverages are easy to drink fast, they're a ton of calories, and they cause you to gain weight, okay? Now, not to say you can't drink a sugary beverage or a soda and still be at a healthy body weight. Of course you can, okay? But overall, majority of people, if they drink a lot of sugary beverages, they're going to gain weight, and being at a higher body weight increases your risk of cancer. The reason why is because there's inflammation, there's hormonal imbalances, you're not able to repair damaged cells in your body as quickly, which then leads to cancer, okay? So we know sugary beverages, check, they increase your risk of cancer. Diet soda, okay? Aspartame, right? Artificial sweeteners. Those have never been linked to increasing your risk of cancer, okay? That's a hard pill for some people to swallow. That's hard information for some people to digest, okay? We have a huge study, the Nutrinet Santé study, came out 2 years ago, looked at literally thousands of people and artificial sweeteners and their cancer risk. That's exactly what they were looking at. No increased risk among any of the artificial sweeteners, okay? So as of right now, if you were to make a decision between regular soda and diet soda, it's got to be a diet soda, okay? If you can eliminate both, sure, okay? But you are also allowed to have a little joy in your life, okay? Should you drink nothing but water? Okay, that's kind of boring, right? You're allowed to have a little bit of joy. So if I had a choice between the two, I'd pick diet soda. And I honestly, the last time I drank a regular soda, you guys, it was honestly probably like 2009. Okay, it's been a very long time because I just know they're linked to increasing your risk of cancer. Just not worth it. Okay, hope that helps. All right, let's see what else we got for questions here. Okay, here we go. Another question, same person from Smiley Face here. Are there benefits from intermittent fasting? Not for weight loss, but for cancer prevention. It's a great question, okay? We have a lot of different studies that have looked at various types of fasting, okay? Intermittent fasting, short-term fasting, which is at least 24-hour fast, or fasting mimicking diet. Those are kind of like the 3 different types of fasting. Now, most popular is intermittent fasting. That's what people are most aware of. Now, when we look at cancer prevention, we have no literature to support that intermittent fasting reduces your risk of being diagnosed with cancer. But if you're a breast cancer survivor, then we do have literature that shows it can reduce your risk of a breast cancer recurrence. If you fast for 13 hours overnight, that will decrease your risk of a breast cancer recurrence, okay? That's really the only piece of positive literature we have around fasting, okay? So that's all we have for now. Hope that helps. Okay. Okay. Can we drink soda during chemo? I wouldn't recommend it, right? Because of the reasons I just stated there. Drinking sugary beverages increases your risk of cancer. I wouldn't recommend it. Honestly, there's not too many things I don't recommend because they increase your risk of cancer. Okay, but sugary beverages is one of them. Okay, there's really only 3 things I don't recommend, but sugary beverages is one of them. Okay, question here from Tim Curtis. Let's see. Hello, my wife was diagnosed with blood cancer and needing a bone marrow transplant. What do you think about this? Okay, so it would be doing your wife and you a great disservice, honestly, if I were to give my opinion on this based on the information I have right here, right? Like, I don't know anything about her, right? And for me to really give an educated opinion on this, I would need like a 45-minute consult with you, okay? So if you're feeling uncertain about the treatment path your team has laid out for you, here's the best piece of advice I can give you. Get a second opinion, okay? Get a second opinion. Go to another doc in your area, get an independent opinion. The reason why I say this is because we know that people who have a good relationship with their care team, okay, if they really trust their care team, they actually have better treatment outcomes, okay? So if you feel like uncertain or you don't trust your care team, then you got to advocate for her and seek a second opinion for sure. Okay, great question. Okay, this is a great question too. Joanne's asking, is it okay to eat or drink soy to estrogen positive breast cancer? Okay, this is a great question. I have a full-length YouTube video on this too. So soy has long been kind of crucified when it comes to hormone positive breast cancer, right? The reason why is because soy, when you look at the chemical structure, it's a phytoestrogen, okay? A phytoestrogen acts similarly in the body to estrogen. No, sorry, let me back up. A phytoestrogen has a similar chemical structure to estrogen, similar but different, okay? Because when you eat it, it does not increase your estrogen levels, okay? It does not. X, okay? Now, there was a theory for a very long time that it did, that it increased your estrogen levels. Avoid soy. Even women who had never had any cancer, they were being told, don't eat soy, it'll increase your estrogen levels. So not true, okay? This was a theory. There was never any real literature behind this. But now we have about a decade of research that shows not only is it safe to eat in estrogen positive breast cancer, but it will actually lower your risk of a cancer recurrence, okay? So for me personally, I seek out eating soy. I try to include more of it in my nutrition because I know the women that eat more of it, they lower their risk of breast cancer, okay? So we have to unlearn that, right? We have to unlearn that line of thinking. Okay, let's see. Here's a great question. Okay, I tested positive for BRCA1 and am I for certain going to get cancer? Of course not. Of course not, right? But you do have to take strategies to lower your risk, and you should be going after them really aggressively, okay? If you're BRCA1, you should be really aggressively going after strategies to lower your risk of cancer, okay? Now, if you need help with strategies to lower your risk of cancer, then I want you to go to the cancerfreedomprogram.com. I'm going to put that link on the website here, on the screen here. So cancerfreedomprogram.com, go here. I work with many BRCA carriers. We call them previvors, not survivors, but pre-previvors, okay? Work with many of them to lower their cancer risk, because knowing that you're at a higher risk of being diagnosed with cancer, we have to lower your risk. And we've got to be aggressive about it, right? Okay, so click there, hit apply, and let's chat more. Okay, all right, great question. Okay, okay, let's see other questions. Okay, here's a question here. So just got done with chemo. Congratulations. Okay. Now I'm scared of eating literally anything. How can I overcome this fear and eat confidently? That's such a great question. And I first want you to know that you are absolutely, without a doubt, not alone. Okay? This is a very common reason why women come to me for support, because there is so much misinformation online that tells you don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat this, don't eat that. Okay? My approach is a science-backed approach, and here's what the science says, okay? There's far more evidence to show you can lower your risk of cancer by including more food, okay? That's power, right? That's having power, that's having control. Every meal, you can actually actively lower your risk of cancer by eating more of the right foods, not taking them away. There's way less literature to say that if you take foods away, that it will actually make a difference in your cancer risk. It's not like, really, I like to go after the things that make the biggest impact. They're really going to lower your risk of cancer. And if that's the case, then we need to focus on including foods, not taking them away. Okay? So there's really three things you need to overcome the fear of food, like overcome the fear of eating after cancer. Okay? The first thing is you need a plan. You need a clear plan, right? You can't feel confident if you have no plan, right? Who feels confident if they're just like trying to figure it out? No one, right? You need a plan, okay? That's number one. The second thing you need is you need a community of cancer thrivers who are thriving after cancer. You can't become something very easily unless you can see it ahead of you, right? You need to see women ahead of you thriving. Now that you're done chemo, you need to leave the Facebook groups, leave the social media groups of people that are still in chemo. Now you need to look for your new group, which are cancer thrivers. Okay, that's number two. Number three is we've got to do mindset work. This is a mindset issue, right? We have to empower you. Those three things are what you need. And honestly, that's exactly what we focus on in the Cancer Freedom Program. Okay, so I'm going to put up on the screen that Cancer Freedom Program website again, because that's honestly, if you want to overcome the fear of food, that's what you need, is you need the Cancer Freedom Program, okay? So you can go to that link there. On the very first page, it says apply here. Click apply here. Fill out that information. You can book a free one-on-one call directly with me, okay? So go ahead and click on that link. Okay, another question here. Soda, question mark. That is funny. Start reading, folks. Sugar feeds cancer. Okay, that's untrue, okay? This is my area of expertise. I literally read about cancer recovery, cancer treatment all day, every day for the last 13 years. That's untrue, okay? Soda increases cancer, but it's got nothing to do with the sugar, okay? So if you're of a different opinion, that's okay. You can kindly excuse yourself from this live. Okay, perfect. All right, next. Okay. Okay. Question here, I'm on targeted therapy. Can I take apple cider vinegar? Okay, so all targeted therapies are different, right? There's a bunch of different types of targeted therapies. So without knowing the specifics of this, I can't answer this question. But what I can suggest is go to your local pharmacist, have a consult with them, and they'll be able to answer your specific question. Okay, good. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay. Question here, I am with Creates Cures, okay, I'm not sure what that means, to help me with fasting mimicking diet. My oncologist was very familiar with Dr. Walter Longo, okay, done a few treatments, it lowers. Okay, not sure what any of this means, but in terms of the fasting mimicking diet, there's very little evidence to show this is going to have any positive effects, okay? If you're happy with it, congrats. This is not something I would recommend routinely, though. Okay, so other questions, drop them in the chat. Okay, so we are talking about the best diet for cancer survivors. Okay, so we're talking about plant-forward eating. So this means the majority of your food should come from plants, okay? But this does not mean the absence of animal proteins, and it does not mean the absence of dairy, okay? So you can still have animal proteins and dairy, and that would still very much support you in lowering your risk of cancer, because white meat and fish have never had any ties to increasing your risk of cancer, okay? At all. None. Okay, so white meat, fish, 100% safe. Red meat, we do want to limit our consumption of red meat, but even the amount of red meat you need to consume to increase your risk of cancer is quite a lot. So you can have red meat 1 to 2 times a week, really, and that would be quite safe. And honestly, many cancer survivors need red meat to help support their blood counts and their iron levels, okay? So that's totally safe. But here's how I want you to build your plate, okay? When you build out your plate as a cancer survivor, half of it needs to be vegetables. Half of your plate. That's a lot. That's a lot of veggies, okay? But that's how you need to build it up, okay? It's half plate veggies, a quarter of your plate's protein, and a quarter of your plate is carbs. Now, most of us are going half plate carbs because they're delicious, okay? Maybe some protein on there, okay? And maybe some veggies, right? But we need to shift the focus. Half plate veggies, quarter plate protein, quarter plate carbs. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that is really the best diet for cancer survivors, is to eat veggie forward. It's not keto, it's not carnivore, it's not paleo, it's not any fad diet that's being pushed in any direction. Okay, fad diets are not something that should be tried with cancer survivors. Okay, instead, we need a diet that's been proven over years and decades to lower your risk of cancer. That means the majority of your foods need to be plant-based. You can still include proteins, animal proteins, white meat, fish, 100% for sure safe, red meat occasionally, zero processed meats. We know processed meats increase the risk of cancer, okay? So that's like deli meat, cured meat, smoked meat is processed meats, okay? Any meat that's had something done to it to change the taste, the appearance, the color, or the shelf life, okay? That's a processed meat. Any meat that's had something done to it to alter its taste, appearance, or shelf life, okay? Processed. No processed meat for cancer survivors, but white meat, fish, occasionally red meat, okay? Okay, question here. And what about rice and wheat? Can we include them? Of course you can, okay? Like I said, majority of foods are safe for cancer survivors. I want you to focus on what foods you can include to lower your risk of cancer, not what foods to take away. Because there's far more power in including foods than taking them away. Now, online, everyone's going to try to scare you. There was even someone here, right, in this chat trying to scare you. Sugar feeds cancer. That's fear. People know that cancer equals fear. People know that. They know you're scared. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that try to take advantage of that to push their agenda. I don't work off of fear. I work off of power. Okay? I want you to feel empowered as a cancer survivor, not scared, right? You don't want to survive cancer just to be scared all the time. That sounds terrible, okay? So I want to empower you. And how we do that is that we teach you how to add foods in to lower your cancer risk. That's control, right? Okay, absolutely. There's a follow-up question to that. Do you think wheat increases inflammation? Your focus when it comes to, first of all, no, okay? Your focus needs to be on eating whole grains, okay? That's going to have higher amounts of fiber. That's also going to lower your risk of cancer, okay? Like I said, I want your takeaway from this, honestly, now listen close. I want your takeaway to be, what foods can I include to lower my risk of cancer? So you're still here, like wheat increases inflammation. That's still fear, right? That's still fear-based. I want you to tell yourself that you can lower your risk of cancer by including more foods, right? By eating more fiber. That's one great example. Eat more fiber, you lower your risk of cancer. For every 10 grams of fiber, you lower your risk of cancer by 10%. Okay? There you go. That's power, right? That's where I want you to take. That's the big change you need to make today, okay? All right. Another question here, does aspartame cause cancer? No, it doesn't. We saw that from the Nutrinet Santé study. We also have the most literature on aspartame because it's been around so long, it doesn't cause cancer. Okay. Okay. Okay, so here, this is a great example of someone trying to scare you, right? I have no time for this, right? This is all fear-based. Sorry. Bye-bye, okay? Okay, here's another one. Does a letrozole is causing knee pain? Does it cause osteoarthritis? Okay, this is a great question. Great question. Okay, absolutely it can. Absolutely can. Now, the knee pain is not necessarily indicative of osteoarthritis. Okay, just because you have joint pain doesn't mean it's causing osteoarthritis. Okay, that's not what that means. Okay, so you can feel confident that those two are not correlated. But it can cause osteoarthritis, okay, osteoporosis, okay, bone loss. So what you want to do is start doing movements, exercise to strengthen your bones. Calcium, vitamin D, strength training. Those three things to pay attention to your bones. Okay. Okay, great question here. Is it okay if I skip tamoxifen after 3 years of taking? Now, this is a question, again, you got to take back to your care team, okay? The reason why I say that is because I know so little about you right now, right? Based on this one sentence, I can't make that recommendation for you. I would be doing you a massive disservice, okay? So what I want you to do is go back to your care team, and if you don't trust them, if you don't feel comfortable with them, then get a second opinion, okay? Now, a woman's choice to take tamoxifen or stop tamoxifen, I respect either one, okay? Because your life, the quality of your life, that's all important, right? It absolutely is, okay? So whatever your choice is, I'm here to support you, but I think you need to go get an opinion of someone that really knows your medical background a lot better than me, okay? Okay, and what about taking carrot juice daily? Okay, so my question is always going to be, what are you hoping to accomplish? Okay, like what's your goal? And I don't mean that in like a snarky way at all. I'm honestly wondering, what are we trying to accomplish? The reason why I'm wondering that is because maybe carrot juice is a good way to get you to that outcome, but maybe there's something else that's better, right? And so I always want to know, like, what's your end goal? And then what's the best way to get you there? Okay, so now let's just say that you want to take carrot juice every day because you want to lower your risk of cancer recurrence, okay? So carrot juice would not be something I recommend to take daily to lower your risk of cancer recurrence, okay? Okay, looks like there's a follow-up to this here too. Okay, and do you think we need to get allergy tests done? Okay, so I won't be able to answer any more questions for you on this. My takeaway for you today, okay, is that you stop being scared of what you should avoid. So again, this is a question about what you should avoid, okay? My takeaway for you is to start looking at what you can include, not take away, okay? This is a question about what you can take away, and I want you to focus on what you can include, okay? So I want you to shift your mindset. That's what I want you to start working on today, because that's honestly going to do you the most service, okay? Okay, I had a mastectomy yesterday. Oh my gosh, glad to have you here. And I feel it was way worse than neoadjuvant chemotherapy. Oh yes, absolutely. Well, keep in mind that just happened yesterday, so you're in the thick of it right now, okay? You're in the thick of it for sure, right? You're in pain, you're sore, all of these things, right? You're in the thick of it, okay? Give yourself a week. Give yourself a week of grace, right? And then move forward after that, okay? Give yourself some grace right now, right? You're 24 hours out, okay? And then move forward after that, okay? All right. Okay, well, that's all the time I have for today. Thanks so much for the great questions. I hope that helped, and we'll chat soon. Okay, bye, everyone.